Hello Internet, it is I, the real Kittycraft, and welcome to a new video. Today, I will be doing something new, and yes, I know, aren't you doing something? I'm doing something new already. Stardew, but this is a thing I'm also doing with Stardew because my channel's lacking content. So, today, I will, be reading some weird fanfiction. Or some terrible tales, as I will call this series. Basically, I will just take a category, more like a show, game, and just review some terrible fan fiction from said series. So today, I'm reading some Blue's Clues fan fiction, which is the start of this whole thing and why I wanted to do this, because I was scrolling through fan fiction at school one day, and all of a sudden I found a Blue's Clues fan fiction, and it was as great as it sounds. So I'll be reading some of them today, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so the first one I have here is Blue's Clues, the mystery. This is gonna be great. Blue and him friends are exhorting, but there's a mystery. Edit, whoops, I mispeeled mystery. You could have fixed your spelling mistake, kiddo. Okay, let's start. Fixing it so you can read along. One day, Blue Dog was he was mysterying likes a detective. Steph was helped too. No bud likes the bad thing in mystery, he said. Yes, says Blue. Bull. This is going great. He puts on a mysterier cap. Blue was kind of scared. The mystery was really bad, and that made Blue sad. And Steffi too. The green dog was helped too because I like the grand dog and it needs a place in my store. Is this real? Is this like actually serious? Okay. Bull, are you miscarrying again? Yes, and he got a big magnify glass. There was footprints. Oh no, said Blue. Oh no, indeed. The mystery is going this way. I think that this is fake, honestly. That this is just pure crack. Like, none of this. I don't think any of this is real. Let's ask the ants. Weird the mystery went, said Steph. Bosso, he asked. Ack said the ants. He wanted that way, the ants said, and they went that way. The cat Winkle was there. You're not mystery, said Gren Dog, and was upset because Hedge wanted to find it the mystery. It was probably Pinkin Dog. But then the mystery appears. Ha ha ha! You'll never defeated me, Blue, and shot a big sleeslids with shot. What even is this? Shot a big sliced it with sword. But Blue used him powers to do a magic backflip, and he shot a XO'd at the mystery. The The mystery was Hut. Green Odig uses a let's in shots to hurt Mystery, and it works. Mystery cries before him. Hood was gone! It's Malbox! The Eden to be caught in nude. I think that was all fake. Super writer, you are a legend. Name. I can't fit my last. Oh, great. You know what? Just 11 out of 10 would recommend. So much suspense on the edge of my seat the entire time. Thank you. Okay. Next one. This is Valentine's Gay by Intoxicated Gnu. Joe had a secret love. It was a forbidden one, yet he couldn't stop it. It was too bad it was one-sided. Or was it? Will Joe find that certain someone for him on Valentine's Day? Steve X Joe, guys. This is gonna be good. Okay, I won't. This is actually a pretty long fic, so I'm gonna read a little bit of it. Joe sat in his big red armchair, one leg folded underneath him, while his other flung off the piece of furniture in that languid way it liked to do when Joe was thinking. He sat on the thinking chair often those days. However, it helped him with his troubles, only with those of others. Joe wondered at times if the thinking chair didn't like him. A drop of a tear, the message from his heart, began to slide down his pale cheeks. A big dorky grin no longer in its place. The tears spilled from his chin to the floor because tears did that a lot. Because tears did that a lot. Okay. This is edgy. This is a little too edgy for me. But did he have a big dorky grin at all? Was it all just a front? Acting? He didn't know anymore. Every holiday he sat in his thinking chair and waited for something. He wasn't waiting for anything in particular. A letter? A phone call? On each holiday he'd skip filming, for he could not act cheery on a day where he was hurting so badly. Joe, you doing okay? A little edgy there. Calm it down. So edgy I cut myself. The thing that had started this tradition of Joe's, and the overwhelming disappointment that was chucked at his head when Steve asked to talk to Blue. It seemed as though it was all Steve had called him for. I'm just a Oh. I'm just a gay jock who'll never get laid. Okay, let's skip a couple. Joe's hand stroked her fur in absent-minded motions, his thoughts once more going to Steve. Blue, you know I can't understand you, not like Steve could. Blue knew this to be true. She appeared saddened and jumped off the resting spot she had made upon his lap. The tricky little dog had a plan in store and was hopefully not one that would disappoint. Jumping around a yipping. Blue smiled, trying to get Joe's attention. Oh, Steve, Joe sobbed into his arm, the boy missing Steve more and more every day. In private, he would sometimes wear a green striped shirt and imagine he was as awesome as Steve was. And skinny. Joe was envious of Steve's eating disorder, too, as no one found it disgusting. Everyone found Joe's faults to be so. Where have you gone, Steve? Joe didn't know how to follow maps, so things did not help. He could not visit his brother. He didn't know how to get his brother's number. Would he ever see Steve again? Okay. Okay, so the first clues, you see a clue. Clue's tears. First clue's tears. Joe patted his pockets. It appears that he left his notebook in the little side table drawer again. Side table drawer smiled and saw Joe coming towards her. The drawer having been trying to talk to him for hours. Joe seemed to notice her. The drawer being quite the wallflower. She envied those who were mobile. Joe, I've got an idea. Way ahead of you. Joe showed her a shadow of a grin as he wrapped his hand around her glistening knob, and closing his fingers around it tightly, then pulled the producing bit of the object, tugging and pulling and tugging. A tint of red could be seen on what could be seen as side table drawer's cheeks. She wasn't so incompetent a drawer as to be stuck all the time, and she sometimes did it on purpose to keep him around longer. It's obvious he wasn't going to talk to her. It was with a harsher grip, Joe pulled one last time, resulting in him falling onto his bed. It was a rather round bottom, the type cartoon babies were drawn with. Why? What is this? Steve, Joe whispered, both in his dreams and out loud. I want to see you, but I can't tell you. I can't tell you what a freak I am. What do I do now? Okay, we're gonna skip a little because this is long. Okay, hello? Steve, Joe shouted far too loud for the telephone, who actually could talk, but now deaf. Hey, Joe, how's Blue? Fine, Joe answered flatly. An awkward silence spawned. How's college? It's fine. What are you calling for? Joe's cries ran out, him stuffing his hand underneath the chair cushion with embarrassment. I just wanted to wish you a happy Valentine's Day. Joe continued to cry before the real feelings poured on him. Why is it that it's always about Blue? Why isn't it about me? Why about me, Steve? What about me? Another pause. What about you? On the other end, Steve sighed. I don't think it mattered. I figured if you called me, you would. You're a big boy now, Joe. I can't run your life for you. An audible gasp sprouted from Joe's mouth, the opening of his soul, if he let it be. Joe, I'm sorry, he sniffled, the snot dripping down his face, nevertheless. I love you, Steve. Before his brother could answer, Joe continued. I don't love you like that. I love you like that. You don't know what it's like. I'm sorry I'm such a disgusting, dumb, ewy head, Steve. Maybe you would love me too. Steve didn't say anything right away, but you can hear the breathing become louder. We're brothers. Oh, this is... what can I expect from a Steve X Joe? But we're not real brothers. Joe's family had been wanting a replacement for him and had gone and picked up a little boy they can love. Why? Why can't it be easy? Work out? Probably because Steve wasn't gay. Why didn't he have to be gay? Yeah, why, Steve? Why did he have to be gay? And also in love with his brother who wasn't his brother. Joe was shocked to find a choked sound from the other side. Do you know why I live with Blue, Joe? Steve asked, his voice somehow sounding far away yet also was right beside his ear. Did you ever wonder why I agreed to live in the house Mom and Dad gave me so easily? Joe shook his head. Joe, think about it. What could we with you and me? No third clue, just the two of us. Well, I guess we could do a lot of things. I hate you, Steve spazzed, soon regaining control of himself. I thought it was unnatural. I thought I'd ruin both of our lives. Joe didn't see where he's getting at. You're right, we're not real brothers. Why can't we do a couple things once in a while? We're both adults. Now they were, anyway. He hadn't been when Steve moved out, but that wasn't the point. You really mean it? It wasn't the heartfelt goodness that Joe wanted to envelop in comfort, but it was good enough. Plus, he would make Steve's heart gay for him. Maybe it would be the first thing he didn't screw up. For you, Joe, Steve said in a nice big brother tone, crying it. He knew that his life was ruined, but it was the only way to keep his beloved little brother happy. What? Okay. This, okay, we have a review for this. Not... You know what? There we go. That should be good. Okay, next we have, Blue's Clues meets the evil algebra teacher. Personal favorite I was waiting for this, Blue and her friends meet my evil algebra teacher. This fanfiction was written a while ago. 17 years? Almost 17 years ago this fanfiction was written. Let's see what... Okay. So this person is 17 years older. So... like 17... About 17 years older, maybe 16, almost 17. Let's see what this person wrote. Life is presented. Presented. I can't read, if you noticed. Why did I do this? I don't own Blue's Clues, thank God. But most of the stuff is true about my algebra teacher. She did get extremely pissed off when we used decimals. She yelled at us when we used her Kleenexes. Seriously, she believed that she was always right, and she thought there should be laughter / giggling, or anything that sort in her room while class was in session. Don't believe me? Ask Kelly. I don't know who Kelly is, but I want to talk to you now that it's been 17 years. Once upon a time, Blue and his Blue's a girl. Blue and his friends Steve, Pail and Shovel, and Slippery were walking around the halls of BBCHS. When they were walking around the halls of the dull, boring school, Miss Bonchette tapped Steve on the shoulder. "Do you have 5 hall passes?" she screamed into their ears. "No, we don't. We're just visiting," Shovel and Pail replied in unison, both with huge grins on their faces, neither knowing the evil that awaited them. "Do you have visitor passes?" Miss Blanchette screamed again, only this time it was louder. The faces of the 5 visitors flinched at the ear-splitting screech. Steve stuck his finger in his ear and twisted around. "No, you see, miss, we're just aimlessly wandering the halls of this here high school for no reason whatsoever, right, Blue?" Blue went bark. It's actually bow, ba-bow. For your information, fanfiction writer. Hopefully, 17 years later, you understand. "I don't care why you're here," Miss Blanchette scribbled something down on a yellow piece of paper and shoved it in Steve's face. "Now get to Mrs. Anderson's room for detention." She kicked Blue, Shovel, Pail, and Slippery in their rears and left down the hall, complaining about how blue monkeys belong in toilets. Steve turned around to his friends. "Let's go to detention!" Blue went bark. Slippery Soap asked with a puzzled look on his face, Steve, what's a detention?" Steve's grin got bigger. "I don't know, Slippery. Let's find out. It sounds fun." You see, Steve and the others had never been outside of Nick Jr., therefore they did not know what a detention was. I feel like this was just a fic to an English teacher. In Miss Anderson's room. "Are you here for detention?" Steve and Blue and Shovel and Pail looked toward the front of a room that looked like a jail cell, only to discover an ancient old lady with a big brown afro staring at them with red eyes. "Hello!" Shovel and Pail waved in unison. "We're here for detention," they beamed. "Shut your traps and sit down!" The 5 detainees sat down in desks and stared at the green chalkboard. "We are now going to do algebra!" And Miss Anderson broke into an evil laugh. "Bwah ha 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 ha!" Slippery giggled. Hee hee. Miss Anderson stopped abruptly. "Did I just hear laughter? A sound of merriment?" "You just sounded funny." Slippery giggled some more. "If you're happy, you die!" Her cackling voice bellowed through the room, and then suddenly a long vine of fuzzy tan hair lashed from her afro. "Ah!" Slippery yelled in fear. Most of the stuff is true. So, if this stuff happened, I'd be afraid of... Is that a mutant in your classroom, Miss, what was your name? Life is pretended? Whatever your freaking name is. I'm gonna call you Life. Okay, little Life over here. Is this actually how things happen in your classroom? Because I'd be afraid if my teacher's hair shot out of their other hair and attacked. So... And then... "Look, Steve, the big monster ate Slippery!" Shovel and Pail said in unison. Blue and bark. "We are now going to learn the square root of 4931258943574232986 blah 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 divided by 189 blah 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 multiplied by blah 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 added to the quadratic equation of 78 times 543 times 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 7, 5, 3 divided by blah blah blah. Miss Anderson rambled on and 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 on, etc. Blues transferred everything evil Miss Anderson said onto a sheet of paper that magically appeared on his desk, even though he had no opposable thumbs to write, but he still could. Blue and bark. Miss Anderson shrugged over the Blue's desk and looked at the paper, seeing the answer of 21.0976. What is this? She yelled in fury. Bark, went Blue. You called this, she stuttered. I paled about what she saw. This decimal! The answer? She said the decimal with hate and disgust. You see, Miss Anderson believed that decimals were the works of the devil. She believed fractions should be used instead of decimals. She hated decimals and people who used them. Use decimals and you die! She screamed right before she sucked Blue into her afro. Hey, wait! You can't eat Blue. She's the star of Blue's Clues. I mean, it is the name of the title. Oh, okay, writer, choose the gender of Blue. Like at the beginning, you said him. You've been saying him for a while. Now you're saying her. Before Miss Anderson could reply, Shovel and Pail sneezed in unison. Achoo! Can we have a Kleenex? They asked in unison. Miss Anderson looked at them as though they were crazy. No, you cannot. They are my Kleenexes. She then grabbed the box off her desk, hugged them protectively. She hated sharing her Kleenexes. But they protested in unison. Don't oppose me, you will die! She then sucked Shovel and Pail into her emptiness of her big afro. Steve looked back at the empty classroom and realized he was all alone. You made friends, now you will die! Steve grabbed a machete from behind his back. What? And hatched Mrs. Anderson's head and landed on the ground with a thud. Steve picked up the head and shook it violently, causing slippery Blue, Shovel, and Pail to tumble on the ground. Thanks, Steve! Shovel and Pail said in unison. Thanks, Steve! Slippery said. Bark, went Blue. Let's go home. And off they went, a newfound knowledge of what detention was and how bad an evil algebra teacher can be. I want to talk with this person, now that it's been so long. Okay, now my review. Okay, let's see. What do we want to say about this fan fiction? Love, hate in one chapter. Since you bear with me here. About Alright, now to go to the crossover fanfiction. So that was the section of this is just Blue's Clues. Now this is Blue's Clues and other stuff. So now we have Winter Shadows by Aqualion. A mysterious blizzard sends two nighttime external. Good to know. Right off into the rails, Velma never knew her comfort zone could be shattered so easily. Joe always knew his way was pretty shaky. Too bad they have nothing in common, except for dogs and clues. Now this is a 7-part series that is completed with a sequel right here, Summer Storms, which is it's not complete, and last time it got updated was June 12th of 2011, so I'm not going to read the entire thing. I'll only read the first chapter, and we'll leave we'll just not read Summer Storms, because if you want to continue on with this, I already read throughout this whole thing before, but you can read this if you want. It was nearly midnight when yeah, this is really long, so bear with me. Chapter 1, Into the Night. It was nearly midnight when she slipped out of the hotel. The wind blasted her as soon as she stepped out the door, and she cringed. It was really only in the 50s, but the wind chill was killer. Should have brought a coat. Oh well. She wasn't about to go back in now. Someone might see her. Velma paused on the sidewalk just in front of the door and shook her head, irritated. Had it really come to this? Sneaking around like a criminal in hopes of dodging her best friends? Really, how had this mess started? Oh wait, she knew how this mess had started. It was her own fault, so, right. They weren't actually following her, or at least if they were doing a pretty good job of staying hidden. She doubted it was a little hard to be paranoid under the current circumstances. What's there for you to be paranoid about? You're the one that caused all the problems. The dark voice in the back of her mind felt silent as her eyes narrowed. It was true, of course. It was what had driven her out here, and what had convinced she was being watched. The gang should be keeping an eye on her. They shouldn't really trust her. Not anymore. Not after... Oh, sheesh. Come off it. Telling herself to drop the subject didn't help, so she started walking. She didn't know her way around the city. Wasn't even sure of its name. The gang was on their way to investigate a haunted house on the west coast. This is just a stopping point. One of many. How many places had they gone through in search of mysteries, anyway? She could never quite be bothered to pay attention when there weren't clues to be found, especially not lately when she had her own sulking to concentrate on. She located a small park on the outskirts of town and flopped onto a bench. Much better. It was late. She was tired, but the wind chill kept her mostly alert. Not that she could sleep anyway. That was when she snuck out. Over the last week she found herself on a mostly nocturnal schedule, sleeping in the back of the mystery machine while they were on the road. It was easier that way. Okay, let's skip a little bit. I mean, I know this is called Terrible Tales, like just bad fan fiction, but honestly, I'm kind of surprised how well written this fan fiction is. Like, for being a crossover with Scooby-Doo and Blue's Clues, of all things, is beyond me. Okay. It's Scooby. Relma! The dog bounded over the back of the bench and landed squarely on top of her, licking her face. Relma! Found Rue! Velma burst into giggles. She couldn't help it. Something about a dog as big as she was pouncing on her made all attempts to keep her composure go out the window. Not that there were any windows out here. Can't read. Okay, you found me. Reaching up and scratching him behind the ears earned her a little bit of breathing space. Scooby, what are you doing out here? Looking for Rue, he answered promptly. Looking for me? Granted, she'd been worried about being followed. This is not who she had expected to have been spying on her. Scooby nodded and hung his head. Ree got rocked out looking for a rack. Raggy's window was roasted. Ran I raw roo. Ran I roro roar ree. Did anybody understand? I don't even understand what Scooby is saying in this fan fiction, like, at all. I get that his English is a little different, but like you could still understand him most of the times in the shows. I don't even know what he's saying. Okay, okay. Okay, Velma stood and turned around, then hesitated. She had been lost in there while she was traveling, and hadn't actually paid attention to where she was going. Scooby, do you happen to know how to get back to the hotel from here? He shook his head. Ruh-roh. Rue? Ruh-roh. Oh, ruh-uh. I can't translate Scooby-Doo language. So if I asked you where we're going, you would tell me. Pow! You don't know. Okay, that works. Midnight didn't seem like the best time for a random trek down the street. Joe mused as he followed the bright blue puppy trotting ahead of him. Blue didn't seem to share his opinion. She insisted on going outside now. Fair enough, though he was a little confused on why they'd come out this far. Surely Blue had noticed they'd crossed the boundary, or at least that the mailboxes weren't talking anymore. Now that he had thought about it, he was pretty sure Blue hadn't encountered non-talking mailboxes in a very long time. Maybe that was the point. I swear, if I'm gonna have somebody break in to my room and just be like, "Why are you going bow?" Okay, let's skip to They don't. Okay, so not Steve. This is Joe. Joe and Blue don't know where they are. Okay. Okay. Here's where they meet. Okay. Realma, Rook, a Rog! Oh, Scooby is right, she realized, looking more closely. The movement was a dog, bounding cheerfully through the grass. Velma relaxed. Maybe it's got an owner around here, too. Doesn't look like a stray, she mused, studying the distant form more carefully. It looks like a puppy. Bizarrely, in the darkness, the puppy almost looked blue. Rah! Raby! Scooby agreed. Rut? Maybe we can ask them for directions. Row right! Rile Rask! When he broke into a run towards the puppy. Scooby's flying charges were impressive. Even his human companions tended to get out of the way when he started running at them. Affection was nice, but this was an awfully large dog, so Velma was surprised when the puppy looked up and held its ground, barking enthusiastically as Scooby skidded to a halt just in front of it. Pow! Rello! Velma chuckled as and left the two canines to get acquainted, looking around to see if the puppy had an owner anywhere. Her eyes kept being drawn back to the little dog, though. It wasn't just the lighting, it was definitely blue. Surely her eyes couldn't be getting even worse, but who'd ever heard of a blue dog? Then again, who ever heard of a talking dog? Yeah, why does nobody really question why Scooby-Doo can talk? He's not a parrot. He actually communicates with people. So... The blue puppy had turned around to bark at something in the direction she'd come from. Within a few seconds, a weary young man with a purple shirt and cargo pants came jogging up, apparently answering the puppy's barks as he did so. But do you really have to run off like... Oh, hi there! This last was directed at Scooby Velma. Scooby. Velma, while within earshot, was hardly at conversational distance. Rello! Scooby answered cheerfully, raising a paw in greeting. The newcomer did a double take, which wasn't unusual, but recovered quickly, almost too quickly. Making new friends? He inquired of the puppy, kneeling down and scratching its ears. Pow! Excellent! He turned his attention to Scooby. So, is anything going here with you? Or maybe, can you help? We're kind of lost. That is not what Velma wanted to hear. Yeah, Rut-row! Rah! We're Rost Roo! Wow. Could have at least had him talk normally, and we can just imagine him in the Scooby-Doo voice. He actually had to write it out. Pow! Scoo. Blue commented lightly. That's okay. Okay, let's skip. They're being very odd. Oh yeah, now there's a blizzard, by the way. Something white drifted out of the sky in front of him. Something that several somethings. On a night that had been over 50 degrees 5 minutes ago, snowflakes were beginning to fall. There was an instant where Joe nearly lost it. Just a moment. It was definitely there. He couldn't quite help remembering another night, another park, another snowfall, where he had been equally lost. His companion had been a duck rather than a dog, and the whole episode had been notably bad for his health. Very bad. Get it together. No freaking out around Blue. Steve would not approve. Yeah, Snow, the girl in the orange shirt muttered. Joe had almost forgotten she was there and jumped, startled. This is very odd. That's a understatement. Her dog grumbled, earning an annoyed look. Ry, R, re, rust, randing, rin, it. Fair point. Come on, we better find some shelter. And they're trying to go inside a building. Where's the part when... Okay, then in the end they skidoo. Okay, where... Huh? Joe turned in the direction of the sound, eyes wide. No way he had just heard that. He knew exactly what it meant when Blue barked in that rhythm. It just seemed too absurd at this point. What did she even found this Skidoo into? Out here in the middle of a deserted alley. Of course, a poster giving the location, probably for a movie or something. And why not a movie poster anyway? This could do into pretty much anything else. If it had been snow, he might have dragged the others along. He had to follow Blue, regardless of that it was his problem. Anyone else? Well, no. That wasn't true at all. Snow or no snow, they were most assuredly in a crisis situation here. And if there was a way out, he couldn't just take it himself. Granted, he didn't know this would even work on the outside, but it never hurt to try. No, wrong. It would work. He heard Blue bark. He'd have heard her if she'd hit the wall, or rather jumping through it. It had to work. Over here! Flashes of orange and brown through whiteout told him they had approached, and it was more by sense than sight. It was more sense than sight. Then that he grabbed them by the arms and whirled back to the poster. No style points for this one. Blue Skidoo, I hope we can too. He jumped. So yeah, even though this is terrible tales, this one isn't as bad as the others. At least the final one. It's just later on, there's shipping between Velma and Joe. They don't get together here, but in the sequel, in Summer Storms, they even though it's only 2 chapters, everyone calls Velma Joe's girlfriend and Joe Velma's boyfriend, and it's just a mess. And obviously, I'm pretty sure in the second, even though it's only 2 chapters, I'm pretty sure it was meant as, yeah, they're gonna get, this is after this happened, and they're together, and they're gonna be together. And it never got finished, so. Post a review for this one? No. No, not for the crossover ones. It's gonna take too, this video is pretty long already. Alright, and the last one is another crossover, he's probably already read up here. Sonic and Shadow fill in for Steve and Blue. When Blue gets sick and Steve has to take her to the doctor, he calls upon Sonic and Shadow to fill in for he and Blue on Blue's Clues for the day. Everything seemed to be going well until Shadow starts acting like a child for some reason. Can Sonic figure out why he's acting this way and get the episode filmed before 5 o'clock? Can he? Okay, let's get this going. Well, here we are, Sonic announces he and Shadow walked up to Steve's house. Shadow groaned at this. Sonic, why do we have to do this? He whined. We have nothing to do with this kid show. I want to go home. Sonic looked at him and smirked. Dewey, I happen to remember seeing you in Blue's onesie pajamas while watching this very show. Shut it. You have no business what I do with myself. Shadow growled through his grit teeth. The Blue Hedgehog snickered. Just admit you're a big baby and I'll drop it. Never. Sonic pursed his lips and gave him, I'm never gonna let this go look. Shadow barked his bared. I can't read. Shadow bared his fangs at the Blue Hedgehog, but he didn't get a reaction. Sonic slightly laughed. The black and red hedgehogs stopped and looked towards the door. Sonic decided teasing time was over and knocked on the door. They stood there for a minute before a human man with brown hair wearing a green striped shirt and khaki pants entered the door. Oh, it's you! Thank goodness you're here! Sonic puffed out his chest. Sonic the Hedgehog, at your service! He suddenly remembered Shadow and motioned to him. And this is Shadow. Shadow just stood there folding his arms. I know who you are. Come in, come in. The man stepped out of the way and let the 2 hedgehogs through the purple door into the front room. There was a picture of a bakery on the wall. A red chair and wallpaper was peach with orange squiggles on it. I'm so glad you 2 were here to fill in for Blue and I on the show today. Poor Blue is sick and needs to go to the vet. It's no problem, Steve. Steve, Shadow mumbled. Sonic smiled at him. Steve, I'm glad I can fill in for you. Shadow Blue Dratini. Why did you write this fan fiction? 1. 2. Where the hell did you make this yourself? And why? As much as Blue's Clues is a good kid show, and 2 people favorited this. 2 people liked it. So dumb already. It gets worse. Hopefully it's nothing serious. I hope she gets better soon. She's sick. Okay. You two read the scripts we sent you, right? Yeah, they both answered. Okay, Sonic, go to the window. Shall go outside and hide until the voiceover says, there she is. Then you come out and run around a bit and go through the doggy door. Okay. Okay. Remember to crawl and don't stand on 2 feet. Okay. Action. Hi there. It's me, Steve. Have you seen my puppy? There she is. A voice of her children shouted. I'm pretty sure this is not how recording episodes work, but you do you. Shadow hops out from behind the all fours. The voice changer in his costume made his barks sound like Blue's barks. Bow bow! Bow bow! This is so dumb! Oh, why am I doing this? Hello, Blue! Hello, Blue and I are excited for you here. Today's special day. Do you know what it is? It's the day Blue gets to have a playdate with Magenta! Shadow sat behind him like a dog on the floor and nodded. Bow bow! Sonic looked at Shadow. Yes, it's going to be so much fun. Bow 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 bow! Why am I doing this? What's that? You want to do something special for the playdate? Bow! Well then, what do you have to do special? Cut, the director shouted. That was a great scene. Take a break and look at your scripts and get some water. That would be barely 30 seconds! If you're cutting every 30 When was this written? I am disappointed. I am disappointed! This was completed this year. This was written in October of 2017. Literally within the year. Why? Scene 2, take 1, action. Sonic looked at the screen as Shadow crawled up fast and bapped the screen with his paw. Sonic making an O with his mouth. Oh, so you want to play Blue's Clues to find out what special thing you want to do for the playdate. Shadow suddenly blinked and looked around. He crawled over to Sonic and sat on the floor. What? Sonic asked. Up. Shadow raised his arms for Sonic to pick him up. Sonic looked at him, confused. Shadow, no, remember that we have to go to my handy-dandy notebook from the side table drawer. Up! He repeated loudly. The blue hedgehog looked at the director in confusion. The director shrugged his shoulders. He didn't know about this. Sonic looked back at Shadow, who was now pouting. They wasn't being picked up. Sonic crouched down. Shadow, what are you doing? He asked. Up! The black and red hedgehog demanded. Sonic sighed and put his hands under Shadow's arms to lift him into his arms. Oh my gosh, you're heavy! He lifted him up and held him in his arms. Okay. Shadow nodded. What is happening? We have to go to the next chapter for this one. We have to. Because it's even more. It's just so bad. Cut. What's wrong with him? I don't know. He was fine when we took a break. Well, you better find a way to make him stop acting like this before 5, or else the whole day will be wasted. Shadow, why are you acting like this? Stop it. He looked at Shadow, who was now babbling on like an infant. Shadow? Sonic sighed and stinking chair, blah, blah, blah. Shadow. Do you want down? Sonic asked him. The black and red hedgehog nodded, and Sonic put him on the floor. He crawled off towards the toy box and pointed at it. What? Toy. You can't open that yourself, you know. Shadow got up on his knees and tried to open the box, but failed to do so. After a few more tries, Sonic opened the box for him and pulled out a toy plane. What about this? Shadow grabbed the toy plane out of his arms and rolled it on the ground while making plane noises. He looked at Sonic. You too. Me too? Shadow nodded. Shoom. Sonic just looked at him and this is so bad. Why is this a thing? Wee-oo, wee-oo. Sonic made fire truck noise and drove the truck on the floor. The black and red hedgehog soon got tired of playing on Sonic's fire truck. Have? You can't have it. If you have that, can I have the plane? He asked. No. No, but you have the truck now. Mine. But this isn't yours, it's blue. Mine! Okay, okay. What's going on? We're supposed to be filling Blue's Clues. Frankenstein. I don't know. Sonic shook his head and replied. He just all of a sudden started acting like a toddler for some reason. I'd never heard of that happening before. Yeah, neither have I, side table drawer. Okay. You know what? I'm done. I'm done. This is this person, whoever freaking Shadow Blue, this person. I'm gonna look at you. 20 stories for Sonic the Hedgehog, Vampire Knight, and Blue's Clues. Okay, so this person is obviously known for writing Blue's Clues not Blue's Clues, freaking Sonic fanfiction, and he decided, for some reason, to write this piece. I don't. Yeah, long story. Oh, Shadow faked. I'm done. I'm done. This was terrible fanfic. This was the terrible tales. I don't even care at this point. They're so bad. And they can be a lot worse. So, if you enjoyed me chatting and reading weird fan fiction, I'm too bad. If you don't like it, too bad. I'm doing it anyway cuz I enjoy it. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.